a healthy back-to-school breakfast. Hey guys, welcome back to At the Table. We are kicking off our Fall into Cooking series today, and we are going to start talking about breakfast and kids. So a lot of children are going back to school, especially our little ones, more so than our older children, but we see kids going back to school, and that means breakfast time or morning time in general becomes a rush, right? And you're trying to figure out, let me get my kids fed. What is something quick, easy that I can get them? And what happens a lot of times with things that we give our kids for breakfast, and sometimes ourselves too as adults, is we tend to gravitate towards things that are really easy, but they're usually loaded with sugar. So think about something like Eggo waffles that you could just throw in a toaster, and you're not really getting a whole lot of whole grains unless you're choosing the whole grain Eggo waffle, but then you have no fruits, no vegetables included. You have usually sugar that you're throwing on top of that. Same thing for Pop-Tarts. So we want to try to move away from that and get more of a nutritious meal for our kids for breakfast, while also it being something that's quick and easy. So what I'm going to make today, we have easy breakfast roll-ups, and these are like an egg breakfast roll-up that you can go ahead and throw together. You can customize it. And then we're also going to be making overnight oats, which are one of my favorites that are definitely a grab-and-go option. So we're going to start off with our easy egg roll-ups, and we've got our pan on medium to low. We're going to start off with our eggs. So this will just be one egg, and I have just a regular large egg here. So we're just going to crack that. Always make sure that you're cracking your eggs on a flat surface instead of the side of the bowl, because what happens is you're pushing that shell into the egg, and that's when you're more likely to get some of that shell in your egg that you are going to be eating. If that happens, you can use the shell to just scoop that right out. All right, we're gonna add a little bit of salt and pepper. So you could, of course, if you've got growing children, maybe in middle school, they might need a little bit more than just one egg. So if you wanted to do maybe 2 eggs, definitely go for it. Like I said, this is an easy, customizable recipe. So I'm just doing an egg, a little bit of salt and pepper, and then I'm just gonna spray my pan. I've got some olive oil spray. Any cooking spray will do. And we're gonna throw our egg in here. And you want to try to coat the bottom of the pan and just let that cook slowly. So I'm actually going to turn it down. This pan is very hot. While that is cooking, I'm going to go ahead and get my avocado ready. So again, you can put anything on this wrap that you like. I went ahead and rinsed my avocado first. You always want to make sure that you're rinsing your fruits and vegetables. Using just water is perfectly fine. A little bit of friction, and that will kill any of the germs that are on the outside of that. So I just take my knife and go in, and then I slowly rotate my avocado. And then you just twist it and it opens right up. And I'm just gonna cut this into a few slices. And I just use the back of my knife to do that and then scoop it out. You can also use a spoon. But this could be something, whatever you put in your egg dish, in your egg wrap, you could definitely just throw things that you already have prepared. So maybe you have some onions caramelized, maybe you have bell peppers already cooked up. This doesn't have to be something that you have to cook or prepare in the morning. Definitely use things that you already have on hand to throw into that wrap. So I'm just gonna kind of check my egg over here. It's looking pretty done. I'm gonna give it just one more minute. And we're gonna get our wrap ready. So you're just gonna grab your plate and use a tortilla. So we have whole wheat tortillas here. And that is our goal. So we're getting whole grains. That will help your kids to be satisfied for longer throughout the day than if you're using those white enriched grains. So whole grain is key. And then we are just gonna throw just some cheese on there. So you could use any type of cheese. We had provolone here, so you know, whatever you have on hand, you're just gonna throw that onto your tortilla. And then once our egg is done, we're gonna throw that on top and then add any other toppings that you want, and it'll be done. So we will actually see you back in just a second when our egg is all complete.
Introducing the Star Communications app. All the tools you need in one convenient location. You can access Watch TV everywhere. Check local channel lineup. Check your Star email. View and pay your Star bill. Report troubles. Use your Star Security app. Check your home voicemail. Sign up for CrowdFiber. Check your Wi-Fi speed. The list keeps going and going. Download for free from the App Store or Google Play.
All right, so our egg is done and it's coming off the pan really nicely. We're just gonna pick that up and throw it on top of our cheese. And since that's nice and warm, it'll kind of melt our cheese a little bit there. And this is where you can fully customize this recipe. So I had avocado on hand, so I'm just gonna throw that on top here, kind of line it down the middle. You could also use the avocado as a spread and just spread it across the bottom of your tortilla. If I had bell peppers, I would probably add bell peppers and onions. I love those, especially with eggs for breakfast. And this is more of a savory breakfast. So if you're one of those people, more so probably you than your children, but if you're one of those people that once you start your day with something sweet, you crave sweet stuff throughout the day, this is a good breakfast to go for because it'll help kind of curb some of that where you're starting your day off with something savory, and that way you're not craving sweet stuff throughout the day. So I also had some spinach. We always want to try to add some type of vegetables to our breakfast, and a lot of times that's really difficult. I usually encourage fruit or vegetables because as long as you're at least getting one of those, you're getting some really good micronutrients into your breakfast. And that is something that will kickstart your day. So then you're just going to roll that up. Let's practice my rolling skills. So if you actually fold in each side and kind of tuck it, you've got a little egg burrito. Super simple, lost a little avocado there. But we are going to just wrap this. So to keep it nice and warm, you could grab some aluminum foil and you can just wrap your tortilla in that. And this is what I mean by grab and go. So we could cut it in half for our kids, make it easier for them to eat it, and then roll it up. Maybe your kids are catching the bus or they're running out of the house. They just grab their burrito and head on. Eat this in the car, eat this on the bus. Super easy, super simple. Now thinking about what we have involved in this meal. So we've got your egg, which is gonna be your protein. And then you've also got your tortilla and your vegetables, which give you some carbs as well. And then our avocado and our cheese actually provides a little bit of fat. So we've got several different macronutrients. So those are our 3 macronutrients: proteins, carbs, and fats. And those together will help. The fat helps to satisfy us for longer. The carbs are what give us energy, and with whole grains, it takes longer for our body to fully digest those. So you have that energy sustained for a longer period of time. And that's why we say it's so important for if you are starting your day off, you want to start off with something that definitely includes whole grains to keep you satisfied for longer so you can make it to lunchtime. And especially with those little kids, we want them to be full and not thinking about their bellies being hungry, and that way they can focus on school and everything that they're intended to do when they go to school. And then your egg is also that protein. It's really good for several different things in our body, but it helps to repair our cells, helps to build muscle. So it's really important to also include in the morning. So you've got a full meal here that is really healthy, nutritious, and tasty, and you can customize it if you have any little ones that are very particular about things that they like, things that they don't like. So this is a great grab and go breakfast for you to make for your kids. We're gonna scoot on over to our overnight oats. So this is one that is one of my all-time favorites. It's very simple, and it just involves a little mason jar. You can use a bigger one if that's what you have. Some oats, milk, and then a few seasonings that we're gonna add to that. So as I said, this is overnight oats. You go ahead and you make this ahead of time. And this is what it looks like when you are all done. So you just stir it all together, and you don't typically think of eating oats cold. You think of oatmeal as a warm breakfast, right? This is one that is a cold breakfast, and it's actually really good. It's very savory, sweet, has all the flavors in there, and it's just one of my absolute favorites. So we're actually gonna get started with making this. So this is just using a little bit of milk. This is half a cup of milk. And I'll scoot this one out of the way. That's our finished product. So we've got half a cup of milk. Any milk is fine. This is 1% milk. It's just what I had at home. You really want to aim for 1% or fat-free. Those are our goals because they are lower in fat, lower in saturated fat. And when we have a high saturated fat diet, that can lead to heart disease. So we want to aim for 1% or fat-free. If you're choosing some of those other milks like a soy milk or an almond milk or a cashew milk, pay attention to the sugar. A lot of times those things are loaded with sugar. They do tend to have some calcium, but they're really higher in sugar than we want to have in a milk. Our cow's milk is natural sugar, so that's very healthy for us. There's not any added sugar to that. So, key is to have a healthy milk as your base. Then we're gonna add our oats. Now you wanna make sure you're choosing the old-fashioned oats. These are very cheap, very affordable, and use these a lot in cooking. So I'm gonna add half a cup, so it's equal parts milk to oats, and then we'll see you back in just a second when I've got those mixed together.
Sweetie, will you turn that down, please?
Keep life exciting, even when it's not. Watch TV everywhere from Star Communications.
All right, so we've got our oats poured into our milk. Simple, you just have your half a cup of milk, dump your oats into that, and then we're gonna add a few other ingredients. So we're gonna add some maple syrup. Now this is added sugar, so you are putting sugar into your breakfast. Okay, so if you used honey, that would be the same. This, like I said, it's added sugar. But when you break down, you're only using half a teaspoon of maple syrup in this. So when you break that down, that's about 2 grams of added sugars. You could have, especially children, can have women and children can have 24 grams of sugar a day. So that is kind of our allotted amount. So 2 grams is really not much, especially for breakfast. A lot of times in other things that we find at breakfast, we've got Pop-Tarts, we've got sugared up cereals, and all of those have way more sugar. Usually the amount of sugar you're allowed to have in a whole day is in that breakfast item. So this very low in sugar, but you can adjust that. If half a teaspoon is not quite enough, you could do a whole teaspoon. You'd be getting 4 grams of added sugar, still very low, but just account for that in your breakfast. All right, so next we have vanilla extract, and we're just using a 1/4 teaspoon of this, so not much at all, just enough to give it a little bit of flavor. And then I like to add a little bit of cinnamon, so This is totally optional. Really, the maple syrup, your oats, and your milk and the vanilla extract are gonna be your base. So think of that as your base, and then you can add whatever you want into that. So I added cinnamon. You could use pumpkin pie spice. So it's definitely fall. We see all things pumpkin right now. You could have kind of a pumpkin breakfast, overnight oats. So you could make it that way. Peanut butter, I'm actually gonna add that at the end before we consume it. So this is just what we're gonna put in the refrigerator overnight. So you put your lid on and shake it up. You could do this in just a regular container. If you have, some Tupperware, you could stir this up if you want. The mason jar is just, to me, it's really cute, first off, but it's also super easy to shake and store. So you put your lid on, you shake it up, throw it in your fridge. When you're ready to leave in the morning, you grab it out of the fridge and you're done. So there are certain things that you could add to this now. You could add the peanut butter to it now. You could add blueberries to it now. Certain fruits you don't want to add too early because they can kind of get mushy and not so good. But I like to just do this as my base. And then in the morning, you go to stick it in your fridge overnight and it's ready. In the morning, it looks like this. So you've got your oats have kind of soaked up some of that water, or I guess milk. It's not really water, right? But it makes it a little bit thicker, and it's just really good and tasty. So then, based on that, you can add whatever you want to on top. So I tend to add some type of fruit. So we've got some blueberries here. Just gonna throw a few of those on. You could also use frozen fruit, and that way it would keep it nice and cold if it's gonna be a little bit before you eat it. Thinking more of about our parents here than the kids so much. And then I've got some banana. So we're gonna do kind of a blueberry banana. And just add a few slices of that. You can also add any nut butters that you have. So I have peanut butter here. Almond butter is really tasty. Those are my main two that I tend to go for, is almond butter or peanut butter. But we're just gonna put that in, and then we're just gonna stir it all up. And that way you have a little bit of that fat, just like I talked about with our avocado in our other dish. That'll help to satisfy us as well. And then the other thing that you could also add are any type of flaxseed or chia seeds. Those are really good. Chia seeds you could actually add to it the night before it's ready, and that will help for it to kind of gel up as well. So chia seeds, there is actually on the back of this, it has an overnight chia pudding recipe. So that's become pretty popular. So you could add that. This has tons of fiber. So this is 36% of your daily value in 2 tablespoons. So that's extremely high. We don't usually see numbers that high. So tons of fiber in this. Our flaxseed has 11% of your daily value of fiber. So it does also add some fiber. It adds some good protein in there too. So you could add other things on top of this. Nuts, I love to add a little bit of nuts on top because nuts are really great for us as well. They have some awesome health benefits too. So you could top it with nuts and then it is good to go. So we'll see you back in just a second and we'll have this all complete.
After completing my contract, I still have to buy out of it? Come on. Here's your sign.
Switch to the sign that's keeping home secure and customers happy all over the area. Security from Star Communications. We pride ourselves on fair pricing and quick, friendly service every time.
Somebody try to break into this place?
Security from Star Communications.
All right, so we've got our oats all complete. I did add a little bit of chia seeds in there, mixed it up, and then topped it with some walnuts. So this is fully customizable. I used to make this. This was one of my go-tos. I go through phases of things. Right now I'm eating cottage cheese and yogurt with some fruit every day for breakfast. But this was one of my favorites for a little while, and I would make one for myself, one for my husband, fully customize it. He loves peanut butter, I love almond butter, so you can make this however you want and whatever your kids enjoy. So definitely ask them. You could have them say, hey, what kind of fruit do you want in your overnight oats today? And they can have a say in what they're making, what they're eating for breakfast. So this is really healthy, really tasty. One thing I wanted to point out, you want to make sure you're using the old-fashioned oats. Don't use the instant. So there is some differences in terms of how oats are processed. So your steel cut is going to be kind of that least processed oat. Now, the only thing with that for overnight oats is you have to really cook steel cut oats for a long time, and they're not really made to just soak in milk and absorb that and then be ready to eat. They would still be kind of hard, difficult to chew. So don't use steel cut, but those are a really great option if you want warm breakfast oatmeal. Next is old fashioned. These have been, so your steel cut has been steamed, then your old fashioned has been steamed and then rolled out. And you might see this, it's synonymous with rolled oats. So old fashioned and rolled oats are the same thing. But these are a good next best option. And then instant is gonna be steamed, rolled, chopped up, and then dehydrated. So some people will say, every time I have oatmeal, I'm hungry within the next couple hours. It's because in your instant oatmeal, they're eating instant oatmeal, and when they do that, there's really, it's chopped up and processed so much that it's not really gonna satisfy you as long as the old-fashioned or steel cut. It takes your body longer to digest that and for it to move through your digestive tract, which is what's gonna satisfy you for longer. So this is gonna be a really good option, keeping those kids full throughout the day, and then until it's time for lunch, they should be good. So like I said, super easy. Throw your, we'll move this over here. Throw this lid on, and then you could put in their lunchbox. You could go ahead and give it to them then, but it's easy. It's a grab and go. They could pull it out of the fridge, eat it real quick before it's time to leave. Not a whole lot of preparation in the morning. So the other thing that we have a lot is kids coming home from school and they're ready for a snack, right? And you want to try to give them healthy options. This is a really easy snack that they could make. They can make it themselves. So a few other snack options, something like popcorn, nuts. You could do mixed nuts. That's a good option for kids. Any of your fruits. So you could have fruit either already chopped up or rinsed, just like these strawberries. Already rinsed, put a lid on top of this, and then they could just grab it and eat those. So something that's already prepared is going to encourage kids to eat that more so than if they have to go through those steps and do it themselves. So this is just a rice cake. Rice cakes are whole grain, so they're a really good option. I choose the lightly salted ones, but these are just plain, so you could add whatever on top of these. They have tons of other flavors. My other go-to, and really the only other one I can find at Food Lion, is the caramel ones. But these do have added sugars, and these have 3 grams of added sugar. So not super high, still a low sugar option, but this one is really tasty too. You don't even need anything on top of this. But I'm gonna show you how to kind of snazz up this other one. So we're just gonna add a little bit of peanut butter. So again, any nut butter would do. If you have a child who's allergic to peanut butter, you could do a sunflower butter, you could do almond butter, whatever they enjoy. So you want to add about a tablespoon or 2 of peanut butter. And then we're going to add some fruit. So by adding that fruit, we don't have to add any sugar on top. Now a little bit of honey on top is really good too. You could add that as well, especially if you go light, if you do not even quite half a teaspoon, you could go that route and it would still be a really healthy option. But fruit is going to be that natural sugar. So we don't have to worry about added sugar. Fruit is not included in that our kind of allotted amount that we're able to have in terms of added sugar. So that 24 grams, the fruit or the sugar that's in fruit, the natural sugar is not counted in that. So the last thing, I'm going to kind of do a half and half. I'm going to add a little bit of banana to this. So just take some of these slices, put them on here. This is also a good, easy breakfast if you have a kid who's just not really that hungry in the morning. They're still getting some protein from that nut butter, that whole grain, which can satisfy them for longer, and then the carbs, which are also going to give them energy. So this is a good little option for them as well. You could sprinkle cinnamon on top of this. Why not? We've got it right here. And this is a really healthy, easy snack for them to take with them. So really tasty. I hope that your kids enjoy this school year. I know it's been a little crazy, but hopefully this will help you guys get back on track to healthy eating this fall.